name is Val. I'm CEO and founder for eMotorWerks, short for eMotorWerks. And let's see if I get a clicker right. We are the creators of JuiceNet, which is our smart charging platform, our platform for smart grid integrated charging. And we'll show you today how we think about the market and what we've done over the last three and a half years. And Marty already mentioned some of the things that we've done, and we'll go into more details. So the reason we're so excited about what we're doing, and again, Marty mentioned a couple of things about it, is that we think that we are on the verge of a major energy transition that is probably one of the largest energy transitions in the century. And this is transition to clean transportation, to electric transportation. If you think about what is going on right now and what's happening across the world in transportation, you have a major fuel transition. You have all the liquid fuels that were consumed by transportation and contributed to all the emissions that we have. I think in the United States, we now have transportation crossing over the electricity sector as the main source of emissions. And billions and billions of gallons of oil are consumed, creating challenges for our energy security and creating emission challenges and also driving costs. So all of that is about to change in the next, we think, in the next 10, 15 years as the electric transportation finally gets to that S-curve inflection point. And there are a lot of industry fundamentals that make us think that, and not only us, but also a number of other players in the market, large market research firms, large OEMs, and other constituents. And these are the facts that are behind. The electric cars are the only way now to meet emission standards. You all know about the Dieselgate scandal that occurred over the last couple of years, and good things came out of it. One of them is obviously more money for charging infrastructure and EV development, but probably more importantly, all the major manufacturers now think that electrification is the only way to meet the standards for emissions worldwide. It's not just about the US, it's about Europe, it's about China. So on the regulatory side, electrification is the only answer. It's also a better car. I don't know how many of you drive electric cars? Show of hands, yes? Well, but 10%, good. These are better cars. They perform better. You don't have to go to the gas station. You refuel them at home. It's great. Finally, we have a major turning point in terms of the underlying cost of equipment. The battery costs are going down, and we're approaching this magic number of $100 per kilowatt hour, where a lot of people think the cost crossover will happen for a comparable electric vehicle compared to the internal combustion on the cost of acquisition. Not just the total cost of ownership, where a lot of the electric vehicles already cross over, especially for fleet applications, but for a cost of acquisition. So this is super exciting. And we are in the very beginning of this journey right now. But think about just 10 years ahead. According to some of the projections from pretty conservative bodies out there, conservative outlets, we are going to have over 50 million vehicles worldwide. 50 million doesn't sound like a lot compared to the whole vehicle population, but think about this. Every vehicle is a large, high peak power consumer of electricity that sits in your home. You plug it into your house network, plug it into your grid. 50 million vehicles plugged in at the same time, 10 years from now, will consume 500 gigawatts of power, which is a really large number. This is, in fact, compared to today, total consumption, world consumption on average, this is 10% of the world consumption peak. So managing that new fuel is really, really important. And that's where we see the opportunity that we play in. We want to be the manager of this new fuel for transportation. The good news is that this fuel is very flexible. you have a large battery in your vehicle, and you can manage the delivery of energy, delivery of power, however you see fit, as long as you deliver the mobility preferences of the drivers. So what we've done over the last 2.5, 3 years, we built this platform, which is an IoT platform. It has certain hardware components that get integrated into what we call energy delivery control points. And it has a cloud platform on top of it that allows us to provide network management, control, aggregation, and utility and grid operator services on top of thousands and thousands, and soon, hopefully, millions of charging stations, vehicles, smart grid charging adapters, and things like that. So the benefits, talking about the ratepayer benefits that are delivered, lower electricity costs, whether it's on time of use or some of the advanced tariffs that, for example, San Diego Gas and Electric is deploying, where the cost of electricity is effectively linked to the wholesale market pricing. And the further we go, the more complex it will become. And a platform like this can manage that. We can manage demand charges in workplace installations. We are doing some work with large campuses in Silicon Valley, where we see on every charging port, they see $400, $500 a year in extraneous costs that could be avoided because of the demand charges. We can manage that peak. We already participate in the wholesale market by bidding curtailments of the charging energy, charging power across thousands of our systems under our control, and actually make money on the wholesale electricity market, which in turn reduces everybody's costs, right? Because the peaker plants don't have to be run, and other high-cost, high-polluting sources of electricity don't have to provide power to the grid. We just shift it to the cleaner portion of the time. So our vision is that over time, we want to control as much as possible of this new transportation fuel. And we think we can with our strategy for real platform development and platform deployment. And over the last year or so, we actually saw a lot of traction against that plan. So behind, on the left, I have some examples of our reference designs that we've built ourselves. These are the systems that we've designed, smart grid charging systems that we've designed and deployed. But we use them now as reference points for other manufacturers that you see on the right. And right now we have 6 actually different manufacturers, 5 of them shown here. One more is coming up. The most recent one was AeroVironment, which Marty mentioned. This is the largest manufacturer of EV charging equipment in the United States. And they just went on JuiceNet, which we're pretty excited about it. They ship probably 30,000 plus systems every year, and we want to put all of them on JuiceNet, make them smart, grid integrated, dispatchable systems. We've just launched in Europe with one manufacturer who's in the top right. This is Webasto, is a tier 1 manufacturer, tier 1 OEM supplier. They work with all the OEMs, which is pretty exciting for us, because one of the other things that we do is we work with the car manufacturers directly to integrate our platform with their clouds so that we can dispatch the vehicles directly without any control of the hardware required. So we see, in the summary, we see our platform approach is really paying off. We have multiple clients now. Total number of systems that we have that are under our control are now crossing 20,000 units, mostly in the United States. But like I said, we're deploying in Europe as well. We just touched on $10 million run rates in terms of the revenue. And we're raising our Series A, and we're just going pretty well. Thank you very much.